I'd also like to thank you for your community support. Obviously, you know our district is a district that has a lot of challenges, just like every district in the state. And with that, I am going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next thing we need to do is we need to election of the meeting chairperson. We will seek nominations.
I'll nominate Paul Mosinee.
Okay, Paul Levinsky's nominated.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any other nominations? Seeing no other nominations, I think we have to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Nay? Carries. All right, I am the meeting chairperson. Next, item 4, appoint a person to take minutes in the parliamentarian. I can talk. Who would like to take notes? Jackie?
Jackie. Yep.
Jackie? We nominate Jackie Martin to take notes. And who wants to be the parliamentarian? Who's pretty good? Tom McCarty? Are you pretty good at that? No. Is anybody good at this? Anybody know Robert's rules? Diane Gorman. We will nominate Diane Gorman.
You guys just don't get online, okay?
That's right. Okay. Item number 5, we will report to district residents. Our superintendent, Greg Doverspike.
Yeah, I just want to, good evening and thank everyone for attending tonight. It's my privilege to serve as the district administrator for the Mosinee School District and present the annual report to our residents. This past year has been both busy and rewarding with the successful passage of the referendum, careful work on balancing the budget, continued efforts to know our community, and a growing focus on personalizing learning. We have laid a strong foundation for the future. What stands out most to me is the passion of the community for its schools and the wide range of opportunities that our district provides to our students, traits that are not found everywhere. Over the past year, we've remained committed to creating a district improvement plan that aligns with our school improvement plans in each building. This cohesive approach strengthens vertical alignment across all 3 schools and ensures a common focus. They center on 4 key pillars: student-centered learning, instructional excellence, collaboration and community, professional leadership, and growth. These pillars serve as the backbone of our focus on student engagement, which is essential to the learning process. While engagement has been a topic of discussion for many years, the difference that we are looking at is a detailed plan in place for how to address this. We're exploring ways to personalize learning, including the use of emerging technologies, where AI-based educational technology is used to meet students where they are at academically and personally, and to move them forward on their individual educational paths. Another priority this year is school safety. District has updated evacuation and reunification processes, fully revised our crisis manual, and refreshed classroom flip charts. I want to thank the administrative team for their many hours of work ensuring that these resources provide clear, actionable guidance in a range of crisis situations. In addition, we dedicated time during our August in-service and will continue throughout the year to training on school safety and active shooter response. We're fortunate to have a strong partnership with the Mosinee Police Department and our other various first responder groups in our community. Equally important is our emphasis on student mental health. We're proud to have expanded our partnership with Compass Counseling, giving elementary students and their families greater access to counseling without leaving schools. This means less lost instructional time for students and more convenience for families. So thank you to Mr. Grill for helping secure this valuable support. We remain committed to finding ways to support students academically, socially, and emotionally. Without healthy and well-nourished students, learning is difficult to achieve. Major focus this year, of course, is the building project. We are deeply grateful to the community for support of the referendum. The project is progressing on schedule with completion planned for the start of the 26-27 school year. On the financial side, the first set of bonds was sold in the spring of 2025, with the remaining bonds scheduled for early 2026. Encouragingly, interest rates are coming in lower than projected, which will allow us to keep the referendum tax impact at the 17-cent mark that we shared during the pre-referendum process. Finally, I'd like to address school finance. As Finance Director Rod Hooter will share shortly, the district is in a stable position for the current year. Through budget reductions and careful planning, we have been able to balance this year's budget. However, tonight's report is still an anticipated budget. Final data on aid certification, property valuation, and enrollment will be available in the coming weeks, with the finalized budget presented at the October Board of Education meeting. That said, declining enrollment remains a challenge, and it reduces district revenue while costs continue to rise with inflation. This may require difficult decisions in the years ahead. I firmly believe our responsibility is to provide the best education possible in the most cost-effective and fiscally responsible way, and that belief will continue to guide our work. In closing, I'm proud of the educational system we have here in Mosinee. Our success is a direct reflection of the strong support of the community, the talents of our students, the dedication of our staff, and the leadership of the school board. To all of these groups and to our administrative team, I extend my sincere thanks for your tireless efforts on behalf of the students of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldsmith. I'd like to thank the superintendent, the administration, and the school board for all your effort to keep this school district, in a good standing, especially educationally and financially. So compliments to all of us. I know we all have different viewpoints, but I think we've conducted ourselves in a very professional manner and learned to work together. And I think the referendum shows that. All right, I'd like to move on to item number 6, presentation of proposed budget by the Director of Finance.
All right. If you're in the booklet, it starts with page 10. Otherwise, we'll have it on the screen. First thing up here, you can see we're basically balanced for this year. Numbers are running good, so maybe we'll have a little surplus here yet. State budget was finalized, the 2-year budget, so the first 3 points are state budget related, and then some other cost points, declining enrollment, and the aid we'll get into later, and also the debt note as superintendent mentioned. So here's the budget on page 11. General fund, which is our main fund. Here's all the various details and past history on that fund. Special projects, Fund 21 is donations, scholarships, and the student activity clubs. And Fund 27 is a special education fund. The debt service funds are non-referendum and referendum are combined in this box. Capital Projects Fund 46 is not the referendum project, it's money we have put in to this fund for future projects. You get state aid when you put the money in, but you do not get state aid then when you spend it on a project later. Fund 49 is the big referendum project, and amounts I put in next year's budget are just, guesses, and what's going to come in by June 30th versus it's in July and August of 2026, so but yeah, that reflects the activity that's happened in the referendum fund, food service fund, and community service fund. I guess I would take any questions on those 2 pages of budgets that anybody might have. Otherwise, it's just totals, and the tax levy we'll get to later, and then the energy efficient exemption required notice. So that's what that is right there. So the revenue limit, which is a big, 80 to 85% of the school district's funding. So that's the big thing. So membership. Here's the data on the membership. And the 3-year average, the revenue limit uses a 3-year average, so that's why I included that data point. And so where do we use that? Revenue limit is last year's, how much we got per kid. The additional $325 the state budget gave us this year, so we're gonna get $11,663.41 per student. this year. Our 3-year average is 1858. That would give us this base revenue limit. We do get a declining enrollment exemption. If you have declining enrollment, instead of using the current 3-year average, you could use the prior year's 3-year average. So that's what that amount is. It gives you a year to right-size your staffing, but it's gone after this year. The energy efficient exemption is basically matched up with the debt that will levy for that part of, for the energy efficient project that happened. And the vouchers, those are in and out as I have a note down below. So we got a total revenue limit. For that total revenue limit, we get a state aid, and what we don't get aid on in various exempt property or just the general state equalized aid, we can levy for. So that's how much we have left to levy. And we do have to levy for the non-referendum debt, which is the energy efficient debt and the high school science addition debt. So that's what that 1.17 million is. So that's how, if everything was perfectly estimated, that's where the levy would run. Any questions on that before we?
How many more years for the science?
Quite a few, I think, but I don't know off the top of my head. How long did we do the science edition?
2017.
So usually 20 years, so yeah, still got 12.
Does that
11.
stay pretty much consistent, that amount?
It goes up like maybe 2% in total. The interest goes down, but the principal they have you goes up because they assume you'll levy a little bit more every year.
If you can just explain to the general person what levy means. So if right now your projection is the 1.17, what does levy mean to the Mosinee resident?
Well, I'll get to that, I guess, then a little bit in the next slide maybe, or 2 slides from now. We'll go over the tax implications. So sticking with the revenue limit, here's how much we got last year if we take out vouchers, which are in out, and this year's estimate. So we'll have 120,000 in new money. Now that new money is not even close to what inflation is on our everyday expenditures, except we had a surplus last year. So that's why we're not, in the hole this year. But next year we'll have to see where we're gonna land. But so we only have 120,000 new money. State aid last year was 14.7 million. This year we're estimating 13.45 million, so 1.28 million less. The state did not add any new funds to school districts' general aid pot. And that hasn't happened. It's a pretty unique situation. And so that's the biggest chunk of why we have less state aid. But it also is less because we have less kids and we have less costs.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So I know the declining enrollment isn't just specific to Mosinee, but do you think that we're pretty consistent with surrounding districts? Do you know that data?
Statewide, I know it's declining, but probably not at our rate. Next month I'll have the membership detailed summary I give you guys that has it by grade, RVA, in and out open enrollments. And then I'll have better idea of at what point would we level out,
Okay.
But
I think, Calander, we can try to gather some of that data for next month. Once everybody gets their third Friday count in September finalized for this year, then we'll be able to have an opportunity to, like you said, look at what our percentage is declining versus our neighbors. If our percentages increase, exceeds our neighbors, or if it's the same as our neighbors.
That's good information to have.
So, decrease in state aid, 1.28 million. Here's what we propose to levy at this point in time, not knowing enrollment, the valuation, and the state aid, just using estimates. 10.5 million to 11.77 million, which is 1.28 million more levy. It's not in budget, it's just coincidence that they're basically the same number. If our state aid were the same as last year, our amount we have to levy, the local taxpayers would not be going up. But we do have to levy more, and this 11,875 is supposed to be 11,775. Note that, please.
Do you want to know, talk about levy, Rod?
I think I got that on the. So down here, you hear mill rate, which is basically tax rate thrown around. So if our valuation goes up 7.5% from last year, that's the estimate we used. The statewide, the estimate is 8%. Marathon County's double digits, so I'm sure ours will be more. But to be conservative, 7.5% gives us a mill rate of 6.14. If it were to be 11%, it'd be $5.95. But that's as a mill rate. Whereas you can see the amount we levy is going up $1.28 million. So if last year's tax bill, our mill rate was $589, and you had a $100,000 house, you paid $589. So this year, it'd be $614. Other than, please note, this isn't gonna be, your house, your valuation of your house is gonna be more. So if we say your house value went up 7.5%, then your mill rate at 614 is gonna go from 589 to 660. And then you can look at what valuation is closest matches your personal residence. But I just wanted to keep that in mind, that dollars are going up that we need because the state aid was not increased. Did that answer your question, Jessica, or what was your question?
Yep, essentially, I just wanted you to break it down into layman's terms as to what it means to the taxpayer, because they
Okay.
may not know necessarily the definition of levy and mill rate.
Yeah, levy is, just, we're going to tell the townships to put on your tax bill dollars that goes to the school district, After the levy is set in October, we send them a DPI form that tells them how much to levy for us.
The hardest concept when I talk to people is that their property, they have a difficult time understanding that their property value has gone up. And therefore your taxes are going to increase because of that. And a lot of people are like, well, why did it increase? Well, your property value went up. And therefore, even if everything stayed the same, you'd still would pay more because it's worth more.
Yeah, if our mill rate stayed 589, you'd still be paying
Yes.
more.
And a lot of people have a difficulty time understanding that my house is worth more now than it was last year.
So, I thought I remember from the last meeting that the projection is that property taxes are going up 11%.
But I use 7.5 to be conservative.
We're
7.5?
Yeah, but
we aren't going to know the actual number of our property valuation increase until, was it October 1st?
Okay.
That comes out, so we've been told it's probably gonna be closer to 11%, but we're just using 7.5 as a conservative.
And
Look.
and how much of that is because values of properties going up versus the mill
we
rate
don't
going up?
know that.
We don't, yeah.
Yeah, if there's new construction and your property doesn't go up, then all the new taxes are going to that new construction. Or if you remodel your house, get a permit, your value of your house is gonna go up. But what we don't know of that 11%, how much is new construction, And how much is just houses going up in value? Maybe it's 10% and 1%. So,
Yeah, they don't break it down for us that way. So, you know, we can't know, like Rod said, if 1% of our 11% valuation increase is because people have added onto their house or have built something new, versus if, how much of it, like, let's say my example, 1% is new or Rod's, 10% is just inflationary increases on the value of your property. Is how to look at it, because your somebody has determined that your property is worth more today than what it was a year ago now, because property values
And
are
it
going up.
maybe you didn't improve anything, it's just that the value of your property went up. But if you put a new roof on or windows, now your property will increase. That's why you have building permits.
Well, I'm just, a little bit worried about how the community is gonna take place.
We are too.
I know you are.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
We talked about it then.
Is it fair, is it necessary? And I'm just being a
No, there
bad
you
guy
go.
because I hear that.
Diane, we talked about this, we're trying to convey
Yep.
this message to people that there are a lot of reasons why your property tax is going up. It isn't just because of the referendum, although that is one, not totally, but it is one factor.
It is.
and if you look at the
One line.
referendum debt service levy line, you know it's went down from 1.2 to 1.1 to 1.1. So if anybody says the increase to their tax bill is because of the referendum, that is not the case. The actual amount we're levying for the debt on the referendum is actually going down.
Another question, declining enrollment. Why is it declining?
Well, it's declining across the country because people are having fewer kids.
Is that the,
Is
what we're
one.
blaming it
Can't
on?
afford it.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, in some cases I used to joke, or not joke, but I used to say it's the death of the family farm. Because farmers aren't having 8 kids anymore to help on the family farm. It's a corporate situation, not saying it's right or wrong, it's just people aren't having 3 to 4 to 5 kids anymore, it's 1 to 2 or none. So that's part of it. The other reality is there's not a tremendous amount of housing in our community for people to buy, to move into. So with your aging population, which is evident, you know, which is the baby boomers are getting to the retirement age or past, that you're seeing.
Is there any thought or possibility to, specifically to Mosinee, changing that trend, that getting our enrollment to go up?
Well,
I know that's not
right,
your.
right. I guess what I'm saying. Yes, I would love to have our enrollment go up, but it's not all something that we can control, because, you know, some of it, like I said, is based on housing. You know, we don't control the housing market in the community, in the district. But, you know, if you look, there's not a lot of houses for sale, if really any, or if they are, they're, you know, typically out of the price range of a young family, I would say. So that's part of the problem, but we are in conversations with the city about how we can partner with that. I think one of the things that we are trying to do is do more to promote ourselves. You know, we've been in the media a lot more lately in the hope that we can attract, you know, if we can't attract them here to live because there's no housing, maybe they'll attract here to open enroll here, which will then help with our enrollment as well. Because we are a winner in the open enrollment game. We have more coming in than going out. But if you can increase that number, then it helps. But the conversation of declining enrollment, for the most part, is being experienced by everybody. Some of the areas that aren't experiencing it are those that are growing in population. You know, it's slowing down a little bit, but like St. Croix County over by Hudson and Somerset, and that area was getting all the people leaving the cities and moving into the rural or more rural areas and then commuting into the Twin Cities. You know, kind of where I came from. You know, you've got some urban sprawl happening around Dane County. And some of those other areas are seeing urban sprawl where people are leaving and moving out into the less populated density areas. So those are seeing increases a little bit in enrollment, but it's not a byproduct of them having more kids. It's a byproduct of people moving to areas where there's housing and there's housing developments occurring.
And maybe it's a sort of developments, because if you look at the growth in Maple Ridge and off of Cornwall Drive, and we have declining enrollment. So is it because these, again, they're not having the kids, or they're moving in, moving out? You know, maybe that's a type of development we need to look at. Is it better to try to get more single-family homes than the types of complexes they're putting up?
But the unfortunate part of this is, we're a school district. We don't have control over housing and legislation and things like that, and that's, yeah, you're almost fighting a battle with your hands behind your back.
But where you may have control is those that we are having of our own district that are enrolling out. Why?
Yeah.
We can survey and try to retain or recruit back and find out of why they're leaving.
That's a good point.
Do we know if our open enrollment is up in comparison to the last year, a few years?
This Friday is the count date, and so next week I was gonna dig into all of that.
Last year, we had a positive
Yeah,
move into our district and move out, but we still had some people move out. Open enroll out.
we should be in the ballpark of net positive 25, more in than out.
Which is trending up. I mean, the last 5 years since I've been on, it has gone up, because we used to be in the negative, yeah.
But again, you have so many factors. They may work in Stevens Point, can't find daycare is another problem in Mosinee. They can't find, so when they go to Point, they can find daycare where they work.
And municipalities don't follow school district lines either. So I can live in Cronenwetter and I can move 3 houses down and go from the DC Everest School District to the Mosinee School District or vice versa, but never really leave Cronenwetter. And you can say that about any one of our municipalities that have multiple school districts involved, where, you know, you can live on one side of the road and be in this district, and live on the other side of the road and be in the other school district. So
Where I live, we have 4 school districts,
Yeah.
all right next
So
to each
you
other.
you end up with some of that in terms of
Yeah.
open enrollment, where people, now that open enrollment has gone to more of a year-round atmosphere and less just that month of February like it originally was, or April, whatever month that was, you know, people are transient, they're moving, and they have, you know, and I get it. My kids have gone to X school for 8 years, and I moved 4 houses down. I don't know if I want my kids to go to a new school when I can open enroll them and they can go to where they were because I'm working there anyway. I mean, like, you see more of that stuff happening as well.
Have we had a lot more leave for RVA or?
We're part of RVA, so we're
Right,
okay with that,
but
but
the
you're
other
getting
ones
some
don't.
that are leaving. I mean, obviously some virtual school programming is, you know, ebbs and flows. I would say it's gone up post-COVID for some, the allure of it.
What about homeschooling?
That ebbs and flows typically. I would say we had a little bit of an uptick on homeschooling last year. Now some of those kids that are homeschooling have come back, I know. I can think of 3 or 4 of them off the top of my head that have come back to the district that left or were either at part of last year or all of last year. So you're seeing some of them return. So that's a positive.
Just some
questions?
info, okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Do you have anything else, Rod?
Just, the next page is just informational. It shows our debt schedules.
Actually, Rod, I think that
History.
one had
That's
to
the-
go up or whatever. That one I think talks about this, go up one more.
Okay, so this is.
That is where the
okay.
science edition is. You can see what year we're done paying on that. Is 2038. Right?
Yep.
I think you asked that, right, Paul?
Did we?
Maybe that letter somewhere.
And then do you have anything else on the presentation of the proposed budget?
No?
I think the next one's the annual treasurer's report, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's you also.
Yep, that's just very short. Cash balance, fund balance, and a required post-employment, Fund 73 information.
Which we have a lot of money in Fund 73.
We are pretty close to fully funded, yep.
Yep. Any other financial questions for him or anybody else? I'm glad to see that a lot of you are asking questions and trying to, because this is a big part of the responsibility of being financially sound. Every school district is facing some of these same challenges. You have inflation, and really, when you don't receive more money from the state, you have problems. And that's every school district's in that situation. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, item number 8 is the authorization of the 25-26 tax levy. It's an advisory only. Be it resolved that the school tax be assessed advisory only against all taxable property within the district in the sum of $11,775,685. Pardon me, which is necessary to operate and maintain the district school system and to finance the recommended budget. And that the debt service obligation, General Fund 10, will be $8,740,685. Non-referendum debt service fund, Fund 38, would be $1,170,000. And referendum debt service fund 39, $1,110,000. And community service fund, Fund 80, $750,000. I'll seek a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Kaiser, second by Stankowski. Any discussion?
I was just gonna mention that this is a time too that doesn't just have to be board members to make the motion. And second, that anybody in the audience.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yes.
Anybody that wants to make a motion can do it.
Yeah, that's a taxpayer
Yes.
Yep, yep,
or a district resident.
yep, and everybody gets to vote, it's an advisory vote. Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Paul, did we have a vote on the budget?
Did we need to vote for the budget?
Yes, we do.
Oh, sorry. All right, let's go back, my mistake. Let's go back to item 6, presentation of the budget. I'll need a motion to accept the budget.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ness,
Second.
second by Bauer. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion, was that?
Aye.
Okay, one motion, one nay. All right, that motion carries. We are on item 9, authorization of the board to provide transportation for public and non-public school transportation. Be it resolved that the school board of the Mosinee School District, Marathon County, State of Wisconsin, be authorized to provide transportation service at the district expense to all pupils outside the Mosinee City established by said school board, section 121.5423. Be it resolved that the school board of Mosinee School, Marathon County, State of Wisconsin, be authorized to provide transportation service at the district's expense to all resident pupils enrolled in private school situated not more than 5 miles beyond the boundaries of the school district measured along the usual traveled routes. I'll take a motion. I'll seek a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Dan Dahl. Thank you, Dan, for your participation. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Zebro. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item 10, authorization of the board to provide school lunches. Be it resolved that the school board of the Mosinee School District, Marathon County, State of Wisconsin, is hereby directed to furnish school lunches to all and any of all students in the district at such places and times and such cost as shall be set by said school board. That the school board is hereby authorized to pay any deficiency which may result from school lunch program, section 120.1016. I will seek a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Nest,
I'll second.
A second by Dan Dahl. Boy, going for the participation.
Get in there, man,
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 11, set salary and expense reimbursement for school board members. This was voted on the 24 annual meeting. Currently, and I think we've had some discussion about potential of possibly changing this, but currently, you can see the read, it says school board members shall receive $200 per meeting attended to a maximum of 14 board meetings, 12 monthly meetings plus 2 special meetings, plus an additional stipend of $200 when attending 14 meetings. Board officers and board committee chairpersons shall receive an additional compensation as follows. Board president, $500 per year. Didn't know that. Board vice president, $300 per year. Board clerk, $300 per year. Board treasurer, $300 per year. Personnel committee chairperson, $100 per year. Finance and building committee chairperson, $100 per year. And the instructional program committee chairperson, $100 per year. The board members will also receive $200 per expulsion meeting attended up to a maximum of 4 per year. They shall receive $200 per diem for attending outside conferences or meetings, subject to the limits identified in the next paragraph. The maximum compensation for a school board member not attending a national conference or serving on an interview committee shall be $5,000 per year. School board members who attend national conference shall receive up to 4 additional premium days as compensation. School board members who serve as an interview committee to hire an administrator shall receive an additional compensation of $200 per day. Be it further resolved that the board members be reimbursed for all their actual and necessary expenses up to the limits defined by the school board policy when traveling outside the district to perform school board duties in accordance with state statutes.
Okay, Paul, I just have some suggestions,
Okay?
and it's only because I know we have talked about this a few times. So, and I know we've got some language that, well, I talked with Bob Butler, who's a WASB attorney, and I know you and Greg both have, or Greg has as well. Because I want to get some more clear language on this, so we don't have this come up. But one of the things, I think the first paragraph, after we had talked, seemed to be fine. But where it is the maximum compensation for a board member not attending a national conference. I don't think anybody's really attended a national conference for years. I don't know why we just don't make that a state, because I think we get much more out of a state conference than we would a national. So I would look at maybe possibly changing that language. And then where the next paragraph went after that, what he had thought we should look to add is board members shall receive reimbursement of actual lost earnings up to 200 days, up to the 4 days of the state convention. And then the next line, so you could take that school board members who attend a national conference, we could take that completely out. The school board members who serve on an interview committee to hire an administrator. Also, you can put for the reimbursement actual lost earnings up to $200 a day. It doesn't interfere then with the max of the $5,000 where some folks, if you're attending interviews, if you're attending conferences, was putting you over. So I don't think we should look to change the max because by the lost earnings, according to section 120.10(4), is for the reimbursement for loss of earnings.
That was my understanding from people that brought this up, was it really was for people that had to get out of their job,
Right.
had to come to an interview, had to give up their wages to get out of their regular job to come to do board business.
Correct.
And that was discouraging people who, you know, everybody's got financial commitments. You have a job, you need the money, and you cannot get out of that job and you weren't getting paid.
Right, and the other recommendation, while we have done this in the past, he thought because if we make changes, it's not in the best interest if a board member makes the motion, seconds the motion, and actually, he said it wouldn't be, didn't say we could but not vote for it, but he recommended that we would abstain from the vote.
The problem is, how do you vote on your own salaries? That's a big issue.
So, I'm just putting that out there.
I guess my only objection to that would be, for example, where I work, I would get, we have an unlimited amount of paid time off. So I would feel guilty getting paid time off and then also having the district pay me those wages. In a sense, to me, I would feel like I was double dipping, you know, because I'm getting paid time off and also getting reimbursed by the district the time that I'm getting paid.
If you get time paid off,
Yeah,
If.
I do, yeah.
right?
But not every person has that.
But also then some people are retired, so then you're capping people who are retired
That's me.
to not get paid because essentially they don't
Well,
have.
it would be up to $200, so.
Right.
assuming that it's still
Yes, up to the
$200.
$200,
So it's either your actual wages
Or-
or 200.
Oh, it's
You're
one
right.
or, oh,
Up
I
to.
thought you,
Yeah.
That's-
Okay, so
At
you're
least
still-
that's the way I interpreted what you said.
correct, yep.
so if you're retired, you're still getting paid, or no?
Yes,
Well, yeah, you
yes.
You come to meetings.
You're getting paid because you're acting as a student.
Okay,
I thought you meant it was only getting paid for your lost wages.
That's the concept of what's happening.
right,
But you're capping the lost wages in payments, what you're
Yeah.
saying.
right.
But if someone's making $200 an hour,
Oh, right,
me?
exactly,
so you
no,
gotta
up
make sure,
to,
it's
so
up
you're,
to, you're capping
right.
200 no matter what you do.
right, so
So
you're,
make you clear on that.
correct.
Because otherwise the board would be an option of paying someone's wages outside the
No,
base.
up to
No,
the
it's
200.
up to
Up
200.
to, so make sure you understand that.
And this is still capped at the 5,000,
Yep.
no matter
Right.
what, outside of,
Right, unless the loss of earnings does not include on that cap.
Diane, could you read it through, skip the first paragraph and then read what Bob Butler suggested?
Okay, so the maximum compensation for school, that's wouldn't change, except the only verbiage I would take out is national conference. I would think that we just put in state,
Okay,
because most of it, I don't remember when anybody attended the last national conference. But it said, board members shall receive reimbursement of actual lost earnings up to $200 a day, up to the 4 days of the state convention. So, instead of like you were getting a per diem, if you're taking off of work to go to the state convention, you get a loss of earnings of your, up to the $200 a day. No different, basically we were getting the $200 per diem when you're attending, but if you're taking off of work, that's the difference, and that it's not allowed, that's not in that cap, it's not counting part of the cap of the 5,000. Instead of us raising that cap,
okay,
does that make sense?
sort of.
Yeah, I, believe me, the paragraphs and paragraphs he sent me to
Sorry.
read. So I'm like, you gotta call me and go over this, Bob.
But it's kind of weird because, you know, we hit that max at what month is it? So then.
Well, you go from,
We'll get
you said in
paid
July,
Basically, what this is doing is this is taking the state convention and
Putting it outside.
Interview
of the-
committees.
Outside of the 5,000.
interview committees too, that's, I think you said. So it's taking the state convention and interview committees outside of the maximum.
right,
It's not factored
right,
into
cause
the
you had
max.
some board members that were beyond their max because of outside conferences or things they were attending. So they were not compensated.
The one thing too, Dan, I would consider adding to that language is if anybody goes to like something to consider, not that I need to complicate this. But if you go to like the WASB legal conference, that might be a Friday, Saturday, and you're missing a day of work on Friday, are you falling back into that?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I guess my recommendation is if it's the desire to go, I would say any state level meeting.
So instead of the state convention.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep,
Yeah, because
Okay.
realistically, there's a lot of meetings you could go to.
Right,
Sure.
right.
I mean, you really, if you wanted to go,
Theoretically.
you could go all the time.
If somebody's going all the time and we find out it's being quote unquote abused, then the conversation can come back to say, all right, we're changing the motion on
right.
this.
But this should help alleviate some of that in that. So all he recommended is, because we're talking about changing that, this was something that he recommended as a language to put in place.
I don't think any of it can be, it has to be a motion and it has to be agreed to.
This group, this room,
It has to do, so.
I mean, obviously, like you said, we can revisit, but how do we, I mean, somebody
You
could,
have to revisit it at
somebody
only
could
a
start
meeting.
going to.
annual meeting.
Annual.
Right.
and you're
You set the board salary at an annual meeting.
Right.
correct. So a year from now, it would get revisited.
It's something that's
Out of whack.
weird.
Well, put
That
your,
doesn't mean though the board can't have the conversation with them. about
Yeah.
saying we aren't gonna authorize you to go to this thing. I don't see that happening,
Right.
but if it were to happen, that is a conversation that could be had at the board level as well.
Well, you might wanna get Dan Dahl involved, he's got a participation award. I mean,
You have
if
to
he
be a
wants to make
resident,
the
but any
motion,
resident.
she'll hand you the paper,
Word for word.
word for word.
Yeah, I think the wording of this is a little cumbersome, so I think that if the motion could just be like, I agree with what Diane said, and then we can work on the
We've got the
language.
video as how we'll
Oh, there
put
you
the
go.
minutes
And I've
together
got it
later.
down, and
Yeah.
I've got his verbiage on my
Yeah,
email, so.
yeah.
So I will make the motion to agree with Diane Gorman
On the board salary
Oh,
on the
boy.
board's salary,
and
yes.
expense reimbursement.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Steve Kaiser. Okay, any discussion? Now, according to Diane, the board members are gonna remain silent, but everybody in the audience are going to say whatever they wanna say.
Well, we have to abstain.
We have to
Well,
abstain.
If you
abstain.
stay silent, that's, you're still voting.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
I,
All those opposed? All those abstaining, which would be the 9 board members?
Diane, can you email me what he said?
Yes, yep,
So I can.
Jack, you got that?
Try to articulate that
yeah.
properly.
Okay, thank you.
Actually took a picture of it.
All right, item 12, other authorized business. This is a standing agenda for the purpose of bringing up any issues that occur from time. This agenda is posted at the time the meeting occurs. Anybody else got any items that they would like to discuss? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item 13, set date and time for the 2025 annual, or 26 annual meeting for September 15th, 2026 at 6 p.m. with the regular September school board meeting to follow at the Mosinee High School, 100 High Street, Mosinee, Wisconsin.
I'll make a motion to set the 2026 annual meeting for September 15th, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m. with the regular September board meeting to follow at Mosinee High School, 1000 High Street, Mosinee, Wisconsin.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Steve Kaiser. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sure we've discussed this previous annual meetings, but does it have to be in September?
It does not have to
No.
be in September, but that's been the
Because it
tradition.
always seems like we're waiting for more data. I mean,
Well, the only, yeah, well,
question I
Or
don't
later
care.
September because of the student count.
right, I think
We
to
don't
that,
have the student.
to that point, Calandra, districts hold annual meetings all over the board.
Uh-huh.
There are some districts that hold them in July.
We used to hold ours in August.
The bottom line is
Yes.
really the annual meeting, the levy and budget stuff is advisory only. The real decision is in the hands of the board in October.
Sure.
So, you know,
Curious.
your other option is you can do the annual meeting as part of the October board meeting and then turn around and,
The reason we used to do it in August is to get information out to people. That's why we did it, to give people a rough idea so they're not hearing rumors that this is going up, this is happening, this is going, so we can kind of inform people.
Rod, you
Well, it's kind of nice, I guess, to have that.
Marathon, Edgar, Stratford, or wherever.
Stratford was the 4th Monday in July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think.
And the state budget was done
Some
then.
of the other ones.
It was close,
If not,
yeah,
yes.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
okay.
Yeah, I don't care what you said.
Any more, I like the fact that we're doing it before the regular board meeting. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. I will seek a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion by Kaiser,
second.
second by, hey, we need you here more often. Any more discussion? Okay, do we have to do a roll call vote?
Nope.
Nope. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay.